Hey everyone, how's it going? So what am I working on now? Well, I have a 2015 Dodge Grand Caravan with 3.6. It's only here for an oil change, and they said the AC doesn't feel that cold. Can we recharge it? So it felt cool to me coming inside. Actually, kind of cold, but it's a cool morning. It's only 60 degrees. It's supposed to go up to 100 though. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to change the oil, and I want to show you something. That's the reason for this whole thing. I'm going to show you something in regards to changing oil. I did go over this once before, but I want to go over it again because it's kind of important. And then we're going to recharge this thing. This thing actually has 220,000 miles on it, I think I said, or 210,000, something like that. So it's got quite a bit of mileage. And then I'll show you how to reset the change oil light too. But let me show you something real quick. So here on the motor, I've gone over this before. I always take the cap off and I stick it there. I pull the stick up a little bit. Now this has a canister filter. Okay, why is that important? Because you want to take the canister filter out first before you do anything. However, what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you why. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to drain the oil first, then we're going to pull the canister filter out. So let's get this thing up in the air. Let's start draining the oil. Then we're going to let it back down and we're going to take the canister filter out. I'm going to show you why. Show you why you want to take the canister filter out first before you drain the oil. So up in the air here, we're going to drain the oil. Yes, I have a drain bucket underneath this. It's a 13. Let me grab a 13. You think I would know it's a 13 by now, considering it's all that Chrysler uses, but for some reason I had 14 stuck in my head. So we're going to let that drain. Now when that's draining, now is a good time to check your tires, check your brakes, stuff like that. So that's what I'm going to do right now. You don't have to watch me do all of that. So as you see, it's drained out pretty much just down to a drip right now. So let me lower this down. Let me get the drain plug. I'm going to throw the drain plug in here. And all we're going to do is just give it a little snug. Because we're not done yet. All right, so now at this point, I move the oil drain to the side, and then we're going to let this down. Let me shut that light off. We're going to let this down. And I'm going to show you the reason you want to change the filter, or at least take the filter out first. Actually, you don't have to watch this whole part. So here we go underneath the hood. Here's the filter. It's inside here. You can get to it. Sometimes I've seen people undo the air filter box just to lift it up. Ah, somebody was smart. They didn't over tighten the daylights out of this thing. They didn't go bananas. So we're going to take this housing off. Now this with the orange cap, this is like a Dorman, I think. So it's got the aluminum housing underneath, because what happens is people over tighten the bananas out of these housings and they destroy the plastic housing, the original one. So Dorman's come up with a aluminum one with the plastic cap. So you can use those housings on the older style, which use the shorter filter. You can use these and upgrade to the bigger filter that has this little tower piece to it. So now let's go up in the air with this, and let's pull the drain plug back out. Knocking stuff down here. Let's pull the drain plug back out and see what happens. Actually, let me put you over here. There we go. realized I left you on. Let me shut you off for a second. Okay, so now up in the air, come back underneath here, and let me just see, get you in a good spot. Get my oil drain and my brush that I just had in my hand, and now I don't know what to do with it. I do that all the time though. Alright, so now let's pull the drain plug out. Now watch, this is going to bite me in the butt and not do the right thing. It's going to call me a liar, but let's see. You see there's more oil coming out of it now. It was down to a light stream before. It wasn't as extreme as I would have liked it to be, but as you see, that's quite a bit of oil coming out. So, all right, let's let that finish up, and then we're gonna button this up. All right, so here's the housing. And what we're gonna do is we're gonna change the filter, and the filter actually snaps into the cap, like that. Change your seal. So many times I see people not bother to change the seal. It's a good point to leak at, because what happens is the seal actually flattens out, and when you're taking it in and out, it makes it worse. So there's a good chance of it not resealing correctly. I mean, you do run the chance of creating a leak. Is there a good possibility it'll seal? Sure, but why take a chance? You have the seal, you're already apart, just replace it. So now, oops. There, it snaps in place. So now this can be installed back into the vehicle. So simple enough. Take it, insert it back down. I know my hand is probably in the way there. There's nothing we can do about that. Now, as it's screwing down, right at that point where it's at, oops, excuse me, right at that point where it's at right now is where the seal started to make contact. So now, the seal is creating the seal as it's going down. It doesn't create its seal by being tight. Just looking for my tools. Put it down 2 seconds ago and then I can't find it. So the seal is being created because the seal is on the side of the housing here, or on the cap. So it creates a seal as it's going down. So all you're doing when you're tightening it is you're just making sure that the cap is not going to come flying off. You know, unscrew itself or whatever. So they're bottomed out. That's all. Just a little bit. You don't have to go nuts. You don't got to go bananas. So there, it's tight. Just wipe off any residual that might have accumulated on there. And now we can add oil and we can send it down the road. I still got to recharge the AC. Maybe I'll show you how I do that. All right, let's add oil to this. Let me get my funnel. And let me back up a bit. Just so you can see what I'm doing. So you get the gist of it. Now this car technically does call for 520, but because of the mileage and this is a limo van. We upped it a little bit. We went to 530, just a little bit thicker. It is a full synthetic, so it'll be fine, no issues. All right, so we're gonna let that drain in. I gotta go find an additional quart because this holds 6, and then we're gonna button this up, and we're gonna do the AC recharge. So we have our AC machine here, our recovery machine. We're only gonna go to the low side because the high side is really a pain in the neck on some of these to get to because it's underneath the housing here. We're just gonna do a low side vacuum, evacuate and recharge. So I'm gonna go to recover. Okay. I'll connect both, but we're not connecting both. We're only doing one. So now the machine will do all the work pretty much. Now, yes, you can hook up gauges and do that, but my gauges actually got broken, so I don't have gauges at the moment. I could do gauges and just verify the pressures and stuff like that, but the customer wanted a recharge, so that's basically what we're doing. We're going to recover it, find out what was in it, and then recharge it to what it's supposed to be. So, all right, I'm going to leave this alone for right now. I have another car I got to go look at, so I'm going to do that. Unfortunately, when I pulled the drain plug out, it was kind of not too exciting. Like there should have been more, but you know, this must have drained down some in the process. Whatever. The one I showed prior, where I think it was an Ecotech motor, where I pulled the canister off secondary and then took the drain plug back out. Same thing I did on here. You saw like quite a bit of oil came out. I think it was an Ecotech, but that's the reason for doing this, because you'll hold oil up in the motor if you don't drain or don't take the filter off first. So anyway, all right, let me go on to that other car. I might make a video on it, depends. Let's go from there. We'll see what the machine shows us when we're done. So there, as you see, 1.753 is what was recovered, and it calls for a 2.53. This is a dual AC unit. So what we're gonna do is, it already puts it into a slight vacuum when it's doing that, but what we're gonna do is, we're gonna put this thing on a 10-minute vacuum, and then we're going to come back, we're going to add oil, and which the oil has dye in it. We're going to add oil through the machine, and then we're going to recharge it. So I don't bother with a leak test. The reason I don't bother with a leak test is because this system is under pressure. A lot of times if you put something under that's supposed to be under pressure under a vacuum, it'll seal up whatever the leak is. So what's the point? So that's why I never bother with the leak test, because unless you have a gross leak that you're going to find anyway, you know, without an issue, it's never going to tell you. Okay, let's get back to this. Okay, with that part finished, now we can charge. So the charge is going to be 2.58 pounds. So we got 0.258. Oil them out. We're going to put in 2 ounces because 2 ounces should be more than enough. We're going to charge on the low side. I said the low side. Now the reason too for the oil, like I said, has dye in it. This thing probably has dye in the system already, so we're going to charge through the low side. And we're going to let it do its thing. So interesting enough, it gets to a point where it kind of can't go any further. What it does is it starts to heat the tank up a little bit, and the heated up Freon gets pushed in to reach your level. Now the funny thing is, any vehicle I've ever seen where it tells you like this, 2.58 or, yeah, 2.58. Any vehicle I've seen, whether it takes 1 pound, 2 pounds, 3 pounds, whatever, when you get close to that number of 2 pounds, whatever, it'll stop taking in, usually within about 3 to 4 tenths of the actual weight that it's supposed to go to. If you go through the low side, I know a lot of people don't like doing it, I've done it, never had a problem. If you go through the low side, and let's say you're doing this with just gauges, like you can't go through the high side and make this happen. But if you go through the low side when you're using just gauges on a bottle, then you can turn the system on and have the compressor come on, and it'll suck through on the low side cable. That's the reason that I do that. So in case the machine got hung up, I wanted to do it that way because it would actually suck through and actually achieve the number that we wanted. So yeah, so let me finish this up and we're going to be done. So we're inside now, and I said I was going to show you how to reset the oil change light. Let me show you. So here, you turn the key on, start it. And the display is showing nothing at this point in time. Oh, there we go. Change oil. Change oil. All right. So simple enough on a Chrysler product. Most of them. Stick it in park. Make sure the key is completely off. Take the key. You're going to stick it to the run position. That's the spot right before, like anything further, is start. So key off. Turn the key to the run position. Run. And you take your gas pedal and you go 1, 2, 3. Okay. Now that should have cleared it up. Okay, so you got nothing there. Now, some Chryslers, not all, will have this with another part of it here to reset it. And let's just see if this actually has the option through this switch. Step B, distance to empty, mile per gallon, 68 degrees. Yeah, it doesn't even offer it. Okay, so, oh, and there you can see 234,250 miles. But now what we're going to do is we're going to road test this thing. I want to make sure, this is one of our good customers. It's a fleet account, and what I want to do is I want to make sure there's nothing else wrong with this vehicle, because this is a limo, technically. So I want to just take it for a ride. I want to make sure everything's good before I give it back to them. Alright, so on my little road test, I just went past the Mexican border. Everything seems great, you know, nothing wrong. Nothing I can hear, see, or feel with the vehicle, so I'm very happy with that. My reasoning for taking it on a road test, like I said, it's a very good customer, and I want to make sure that everything's okay with the vehicle, because sometimes people don't pick up on certain issues that are happening with their vehicle. So I figured it was a good thing to do. Plus I wanted to feel the air conditioning, and it definitely feels colder. It was cold before, but not super cold, but it's definitely colder now. But yeah, so anyway, that's it. The thing with the oil change was a little uneventful, but I mean, you got the general idea, and you did see a change. So hopefully you remember that next time you're changing something with a canister, take the canister off first. But yeah, so that's about it. All right, guys, I hope you're getting something out of my videos. If you are, hit that like button. If you could, please subscribe. All right, have a great day. Keep wrenching.